See, see,
What was one of the highlights of the show that
see, S, H, E, see, S, H, E, see, S, H, E, see, S, H, E, see, see.
Hey, hey. Welcome to the Sheep Up Network where we talk books, authors, and publishers. I am Shanitha Finesse, CEO and founder of She Publishing LLC. And my co-host with me today is the one and only LaShonda Demery, the author of Tears of a Lost Soul. How you doing?
I am doing well. I'm so excited about tonight. I'm excited about our topic. I am LaShonda Demery, Shanita's co-host, the author of Tears of a Lost Soul, and I am feeling great tonight. I'm excited about tonight. I'm excited about our topic, and I'm excited about our guests for tonight. So let's get started. Let's get started.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we're gonna jump right on in, you guys. And so the first guest, well, first of all, we celebrate Women's History Month, right? So this entire month, every Tuesday, we will be on here, LaShonda and I, and we will invite other authors from the She family to come on, and we want you to join us. We also want you to post your name and where you're from in the chat because we want to give you a shout out and we thank you for being here. I do see we do have some guests, so don't be shy now. Go on, drop your name and where you're coming from. The first person that we will introduce tonight, she is, you guys know her, okay? She is my sister from another mother. I will first introduce Dr. C.
Hey,
Well,
How you
Dr.
doing?
C, come on
hello,
in.
ladies. How are you? It
Doing
is good
great.
to see you guys again. I am excited about this tonight's topic as well.
All right. And Dr. C is the CEO and founder of Allure Publishing. Again, she is a part of the trifecta and she has several books that she has published. The next person I will introduce is also from the She roster, the one and only entity.
Hey everybody. Hello, hello.
Okay.
Hello, entity.
Hey, hello, beautiful ladies. Hello.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, entity, before we introduce our next guest.
Hello everybody. I'm Entity. I am an author with She Publishing, and I am the author of Here I Am, a memoir for motivational purposes. It tells a bit of my story, but also again, it's more of a motivational book than a biography or tell all about me. I took my life experiences, coming up in the inner city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and then my time in the military, and then just the different phases of life and things that I've went through. And I use those things to help people that may be going through things similar or maybe even different to help them relate and realize that they can keep going. And there is life on the other side of these obstacles and kind of be an example that it gets better. So that's just a bit
Right.
about me.
Look, this is about to be a juicy conversation, y'all. Okay.
Yes, it
And
is.
then And then for our final guest, we have Okurta. Welcome to the show tonight.
Well, thank you for
Hello,
inviting me.
Carter.
Well, hello. Thank you for inviting me. I'm so glad to be here. My name is Okurta Mitchell. I'm not an author yet. I'm an author in making. Okay. I am the CEO and founder of Healing and Wholeness Transitional Home for Women. I am an ordained minister. Um, I do, and my passion in my heart is with prison ministry, and that's what I do. But I'm all about just loving on people, loving up on women, and being a people's person.
Great, great. All
Love
right. So
it.
are we ready, ladies? Are we ready? I'm so glad to have Okurta. Okurta is my prayer partner, y'all. So I'm just happy to have her here tonight. She has an amazing story. We share some of the same, in our history, we share some of the same sentiments, about our children, about being in prison, about our substance abuse history, our mental health history. And so we are two resilient women. We
Yes.
make it through a lot. And we're here together to stand together, to tell our stories together. And that's the amazing part about it. I love her, and I
Mhm.
brought her on here tonight, and I'm excited about Entity. I'm one of your sisters in published authorship.
I know. I know. I saw your work. It's amazing.
Yes. And so I'm excited about the doctor with us tonight. Of course, Shanita, thank you for the opportunity to have me here with you tonight. I'm still excited about that. And tonight, ladies, we'll be talking about these are real conversations, y'all. And I'm working right now on just trying to relax. And I want everybody to just relax because we want to have a real conversation. We know when it comes from the heart, it meets the heart. So we want to pour out much as we can. And we want to share, be authentic tonight, transparent tonight. And so that our show can be effective. Okay. So tonight we're talking about distractions,
Mm,
detours, and discipline.
mm.
Distractions, detours, and disciplines. So, right off the top of your head, ladies, what do you think about when you hear those words? Distractions, detours, and discipline.
Mm.
Who wants to take a shot at it first?
Well, I go first. Um, Distractions, detours, and discipline. Without discipline, off the top of my head, I have to discipline, and we as a people have to discipline ourselves because we have an agenda to fulfill while we're on here on earth. And that agenda comes with a whole lot of stuff that needs our undivided attention. Okay, I don't know why, what happened. Okay, that needs our undivided attention. And if we're not disciplined to follow through on those things, then the distractions, with all the stuff that's going on around us, that's constantly going on, life be life, and such situations always coming and arising, and then they have these illusions that make you think that it's one thing and it's not that thing, and that can kind of throw you off and get you distracted. And so if you are not disciplined enough to know what you got to do, and sometimes making a plan and following that plan, walking it out, it can cause you to be distracted. And what, I'm sorry, what was the other word? Distracted, distorted,
It's,
distorted. Yes,
it's
distorted.
distraction, detours, and discipline. But I
Detours,
think,
detours.
yeah, I think if we talk about distractions first, because the distraction caused the detour, and then the detour causes us to get off track. So we need discipline to stay on our path. So just for the word distractions, what are some things that has distracted you? One or two things that you can share with us that has distracted you on your journey.
What has distracted me on my journey for and foremost is I say people. People because I, again, as when I introduce myself, I say I am a people's person. And because I love people, and I'm always, put myself out there to meet people and to involve myself and to engage people. A lot of times I allow that to distract me from what God has called me to do, or what I've purposed to do, the assignment that I'm on, because of who my personality is, which is a people person, and that can be a distraction to me.
Okay. Who wants to go next? This is the conversation, ladies. Who wants to go next?
I can go next if nobody else is ready. I don't want to
Okay.
jump in front of nobody. um, Distractions. I think they can both be both internal and external. Sometimes we distract ourselves from things just with our own thoughts, our own negative self-talk, our own hangups. I always tell people sometimes you got to get out your own way. Like we may have certain plans or goals or plots that we're supposed to be working on, and we'll get so far, as I say, in our body, thinking about this and worried about this and the what ifs, that we don't even start. Or if we do start, we don't continue what we have to finish. And so those are the internal distractions that I'm talking about. And we all, of course, and I think before I go to the external, I think a lot of times with the internal, we don't even realize that we're doing it sometimes. You we have been so conditioned from things that we've seen or heard, or just our way of thinking because of who we've been for so long, that we don't even realize that we're in our own way, or we're being negative, or we're causing these problems. So that's one thing with the internal. And the external, I think, is the stuff that most of us do notice, and whether we choose to acknowledge it and do something about it is a whole nother conversation. But those external distractions, whether it be something positive, like being a mother and knowing, okay, I have to do this, this, and this for my child, and putting things for ourselves on the back burner, or things that we're trying to accomplish on the back burner, to go ahead and take care of those responsibilities first. You may say, okay, well, my child needs this much attentiveness or XYZ amount of care, so I got to put school off until this age, or until this is done, or I need this job to go ahead and accomplish these goals that I have for myself. But if I do this, then I'm not as available as I should be as a mother or a wife. And, it's a lot of those things externally on top of the obvious negative things. There's always something in life. Actually, life be life, and I say that all the time. It's real. Life really does find a way all the time to just kind of be like, okay, what else? So, when you got the internal distractions and the external distractions both fighting against you, you somewhere in the middle trying to catch your breath and do what you got to do. And it's real.
I love that. I
Okay.
love that you actually talked about the external and the internal distractions. And I do want to point out, I do want to say hey to Mark and hey to Natasha and Darlene, who's in the virtual building. And Natasha said that distractions can be as easy as negative thoughts, and sometimes people go negative for no reason.
Mm.
That's one of them internal thoughts. You just thinking negative, but it's really nothing. And while you talked about the internal and external distractions, let's remember distractions we can have some good distractions too now. We can have
Yeah.
the good distractions that can take us away from the negative thoughts, especially when it comes to like health. Sometimes like to have that friend or that person to say, oh, you got this, da 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 da, or call you, check on you, see how you're doing. So you're not in those negative thoughts by yourself. Those are good distractions. So while we are talking about distractions, I want to talk about the good ones and the not so good ones.
Okay. Okay. I like what you said. I like what you said. I want to give the doctor, to a chance to hop in here about this topic on distractions.
Thank you. I agree with all that everybody said. I think most of the time when we look at the distractions, it's environmental, as we say. We have to look at the external parts of it as well too. It could be where you've grown up at, the environment that you're in. It can be a distraction as well too. But I think also too is it's also this mental thing that we think about all the time about on ourselves and being the naysayers for ourselves and never uplifting us. What Shanita says is that you really need to have a counterpart, somebody that is going to be in your corner when you get those thoughts. And as Entity said, being that person that says, I need to get out my own way. Those are the things that we need to think about on a regular basis. Is it hard? Sure, it is hard if you don't have anybody that's in your circle who is always going to be your rooter. Somebody's going to root for you, but you got to root for yourself as well too. But looking at all of those in a full circle will allow us to understand what our next step in life is going to be, whether that distraction is going to put us to the left or is it going to put us in front of ourselves and we're walking the path that we're supposed to be walking.
So it's funny that you said positive distractions. Okay. So it actually, some things can happen in a positive manner to distract us from what we should be doing. Okay. And so I hear Curtis say this all the time. She say it can be a good thing, but it's not a God thing. And as women of God and women of purpose, when we start talking about women of purpose, we think about a woman of God, a woman of virtue, you know. So there are some things, some good things that have distracted us along the way. Who and just like Okurta, she stated, she's an author in the making. You know, is there something that you know you need to do or something that you want to do that you have not done? And have you identified what has stopped you? What has held you back? So we need to get really serious tonight about what has held you back. Because when we start to share, you know, we don't want to just have a shallow conversation tonight. We want to really get into what are some of the things that has distracted us. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get brutally honest for a minute here, and maybe we can just kind of open those doors to, you know, situations we know that has distracted us, right? So I had a situation, and this is when I got out of prison. I got into a relationship in prison, okay? And so what I decided to do was take the relationship home with someone that was still in prison, right? And so me being a new person back into society, I had not been in society in 6 years. That was a major distraction for me. I had nowhere to go. I had no place to live, but yet I was looking back. I was looking back. I was steady looking back. And I knew that it was a distraction. But in my mind, I had told myself I could handle this distraction, right? It slowed me down. It caused me a lot of heartache. And it was just something that I was trying to maneuver, and the entire situation manipulated me, and it slowed me down, right? So when I'm talking about distractions, I'm talking about things that we know we should have let go of, things that were unhealthy for us, things that felt good to us. Something can feel good to you, and it can be unhealthy for you. Even when we commit to things that we can't even accomplish, or we don't even have, I didn't have the capability to take care of nobody in prison, but I made that obligation and I made that commitment. So sometimes we're not realistic, you know, with these distractions. And sometimes if we can't identify it, if we can't be real, if we can't even look back over our lives and be real about some things. When I look back at that situation, I'm like, girl, what were you doing? What were you even thinking about? You know, what made you want to meet the challenge? And you are a new person in society, had to start all over again. So when you really get real, you can look at some situations where even people that are close to you, they don't believe you can do it. When you start talking about opening this business, immediately, there you go, talking about that again. So what are some situations where you can just identify something? And of course, there are internal distractions, such as fear, such as doubt. We doubt ourselves so much. We don't really need nobody else to doubt us. We have this fear, you know, especially fear of speaking. We don't want to speak, we don't want to do things that's going to cause us to sacrifice more. We want to do the bare minimum. You know, we don't want to walk by faith. We don't want to just say, hey, I'm just going to give it a shot. So we do struggle in certain areas. But what are some things that has distracted us that we know that we can share with other women who are watching, and they can understand, okay, she's just like me and she got through it. So what can I do to make it through it too? So let's get honest, ladies, tonight. And what is something that we can actually, what is that thing? What is that someone? What is that situation that you know distracted you that you can share and that you made it through it?
You know, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead. Was somebody else going to speak?
No, you go ahead, Okurta.
Okay. just listening at you and opening up and giving that moment of transparency and me knowing a little bit about the situation, it made me think and reflect upon myself and some things that I have allowed to be also to have allowed to be a distraction. And one of the things, I said people, but then when I say people, I have to think about me, myself, first and foremost. Because of my personality, I can get in my own way. I can become a distraction to myself. When you talk about the things that you mention, what I often say, it can be a good thing, but it's not a God thing. And so I because I'm in people and I like to engage people and I like to be doing something, I can get in my own way by just committing to everything or trying to get on top of everything. And I think there may be something going on with me, which a control thing, because I like to see things through, like to see them a certain way. And that's controlling that some control issues that's going on within me. I recognize that today. I just had a situation just earlier, right before right on my way here, on my way home today. A situation happened with one of my kids. And I was just trying to give them a solution. And when they started saying something, I said, there go your pride. But then because they didn't want to handle it how I wanted to how I wanted it. This camera keep going off. I'm sorry, the camera keep going off. Just because they didn't handle it like I thought it should be handled doesn't mean that it's wrong. And I can get that control I see in me. So me wanting to be in control of a lot of things, that's why I always jump to things and like to oversee things. And so I can I'm like watching over everything, making over everybody, and this here to keep everything straight. If I don't watch over it, if I don't keep it in the box, how I think it should go, then it's not gonna go like it should go, or how I want it to go. So that I've gotten in my own way. I've become a distraction to myself. And so when I think about that, and just how when my mind can play tricks on me sometimes, and I'll be like, now Keita, let go and let God. I let go and let God. And I think about this here. You pray the prayers, you're a praying woman, you're standing on faith. Why can't you just let this go? Why are you struggling with this here? And now when I look back over it, because it's control. It's a control thing. And God, when he brought that up to me and showed me me, when he exposed me to me about how I was getting in my own way, even in getting in the way of what God wanted to do in me and through me, I was becoming a stumbling block to myself. Hallelujah. Hear me now. I was becoming a stumbling block to my own self because I want to control things. So you say all of these cliche sayings, Keita, are the things that you know that are biblically correct and stuff, but yet sometimes you don't follow through on them like you're saying them. You could tell it to everybody else. And so when I can't really give you an answer to what you can do, but as I share some of what I personally have experienced with mine, I hope that can give you a little insight, a direction of what you can do. Not that I spoke directly to your situation, but I was speaking about mine, hoping that it would give you some insight.
And so that's kind of like what obligating ourselves to more than what we can truly handle at the time, or trying to control situations, or even having this, delusion that we can do something that we can't, and that's control other people as well. What you got to say? You was getting ready to say something, Shanita. What was it?
Yeah, just engaging with the audience too. I just wanted to know, has anybody experienced what Darlene has experienced about trying to be there for everybody all the time? And could one of us speak to that,
Yeah,
go into detail about that?
I can definitely speak to that. I'm going to speak to two things and be transparent with it tonight. I think for me, it's been the fear of failure. When we think of the fear of failure, I don't know if anybody is a middle child. Anybody on here middle child? I know, LaShonda, you the only child, but anybody a middle child? Well, I'm a middle child, so it's always been embedded in my spirit that middle child syndrome is really real. And so for me, it was always the fear of failure, always looking to my older sister than my younger brother, and I'm stuck in the middle trying to figure it out. And so my thing was always going, as they say, going hard in the paint, always trying to, make please everybody, but realizing I'm losing myself. And I'm not gonna cry tonight, but it became overwhelming, really overwhelming, because I knew that I had it in me, but I still felt like I was not good enough. Not good enough to be in the shadow of my sister, and not be good enough to be in the shadow of my brother. So I was stuck in the middle. And so I realized when I had my own children, I realized that I could not push that onto them. I had to realize that for me, I had to heal me. And the fear of failure wasn't within me, it was around me. So sometimes you have to let go of that stuff around you to really realize that you can shine on your own. Not saying that your family is a bad thing. I had to learn for myself that I was good enough. And being able to love myself was number one. And so me projecting that to my children and realizing that I had a gift for myself that I needed to give to the world, which happened to happen after I had my stroke. But again, it had to happen for me. And that fear of failure went away because God said, I gave it to you already. What are you holding on to? And so for me, that was the fear of failure. But then also trying to give everything to everybody and didn't have anything for myself. So the reserves were empty. And I was literally failing on both sides of the world. And so when people see doctor, they like, oh, you did. No, that's just a title. I'm still a woman. I'm still a mom. I'm still a sister. I'm still an aunt, and I still have feelings. So it took me till I was about 40 years old to understand my worth. And that's
Mm-hmm.
too long, but it was long enough for me to understand in those 40 years when I got to it, that that's why I needed to understand it at 40. And so being able to understand those dynamics of being able to say that I am enough, that fear doesn't live in this house anymore, and that I am a conqueror. And so I had to understand that for myself. And now I literally go and speak this to women to let them understand that because of your situation doesn't allow you to be able to be stuck in it. You got to find a way to get out of it. And that means getting with people that understand where you're coming from. So
That's
that's it.
good. That's real good. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what I hear you saying is we take on these roles and responsibilities and we cling on to people and we hold on to people because we're not sure of ourselves. We're not sure of ourselves. We hold on to
Mhm.
past things of the past. Um, that carries us into our next mini discussion, and that is how, and you already brought us into it, Doctor. Thank you. How you learn to refocus and reclaim your purpose. How do you learn how to, and this is going to take some sacrifices and letting some things go, even if it hurt. You got to let it go. You got to
Mhm.
let them go. You got to let it go, whatever it is. So let's talk about, yes, I am more than enough. Yes, Natasha, we missed you tonight. Why you didn't come back? Uh-huh, But
Natasha.
let's talk about how do we refocus and how do, once we identify things, what do we do next? What do we do? Entity?
I think the approach to what to do next once you like go ahead and realize those distractions, it varies depending on what the issue is. I think for me personally, one of the hardest things I had to learn, and listening to some of y'all, I think this may be a issue across the board, like we said, just being everything for everyone else and, always being available and always putting everything first. I had to learn, and I always tell people that if you're not okay, if you are not good with yourself, then you can't be anything for anyone else.
Good.
Every everything that you are, everything that you can give starts with you. So you have to be okay. And I think so often We take so much of ourselves and piece it out. We take so much of our mind and let other things run through it beyond what we need to be doing for us. Like there's literally nothing left. And I know for me personally, and some of the obstacles that I've overcome, I literally had to get to the point where I didn't have anything left before I sat back and said, okay, this ain't gonna get it. I am not okay. I am not going to continue to exist like this, at least not healthily, if at all. And that's unfortunate, and that's nowhere that any of us want to be. And I've listened to y'all speak, and I hate, Dr. Miller, that I couldn't hear you at first. I had to kind of come back in because I was like, I wanted to hear what you were saying. But from what I heard from everyone else, also, just the things that we've overcome, like the unhealthy relationships. Maybe it'd be drug or alcohol addiction, like you said. Y'all being incarcerated at times. You know, I've been there, and so for me, with my time in the military and what I went through and the traumas that I went through in life from that, and then not being well after dealing with all that and not even realizing that I wasn't well. That was the first problem. I didn't realize that I wasn't okay. And here I am still out here trying to be good and be there for everyone else. Like Okerta was saying, she's giving so much to her kids and giving so much to the people around her. And I heard you say she's your prayer partner. Like, we give so much to everybody else. We don't think about what we're not giving ourselves. And so in those moments when that trauma and those things that I went through got the best of me, and I realized that instead of taking care of me, I was having that drink or taking those pills. Those were those quick fixes, or like you said, those relationships. Those are quick fixes too, because that's that false but instant gratification. It make you feel good for a minute to hear this from this person or feel this from this person, whether it be emotional, whether it be physical. That doesn't fix that deep rooted issue. So I think the first step in correcting it is realizing what the issue really is, not what you're doing right now, not what hurts at the moment, because a lot of times that's surface. What's going on underneath that? What's caused this? That whole every action has a reaction thing is real. Like, you got to get to the root of the problem and realize, what do I need to do for, talking to self, what do I need to do to make sure that I'm okay, to make sure that I'm good, I'm the best version of me. And then once I deal with self, then I can go ahead and attack those things that are happening to me or that I'm allowing, that I'm doing to myself. Okay, these bad decisions are leading me places that I don't want to be, whether it be financial ruin or being incarcerated or being addicted or in this toxic relationship. Once I deal with that, then I can deal with these things. And then once I deal with these things, it's okay, where do I go from here? And I think we really got to take the same time and the same patience that we give everyone and everything else and have it with ourselves.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. So who am I? Like, when we are searching for ourselves and other people, when we are holding on to situations or substances
Mhm.
or whatever the issue may be, in order for us to get that quick fix, that quick feel. If you are in a situation even now and you feel drained when the person comes around, or
Uh-oh.
if you feel uh, depleted once they leave you, or if you feel like you still not enough, they always gonna have to leave you feeling some type of way. If that's what you feeling even now, it's you don't know yourself. You haven't gotten a chance to figure you out yet. And I think we move so fast because we looking for a feeling. We looking for how something makes us feel. And once we get that feeling, we keep going back to it. But we forget about ourselves. And then we continue to look and we continue to look until we definitely lose ourselves. And that's when we make that detour. That's when we make a detour. We're off the map now. We're just looking for somebody to fulfill us, somebody to fix us. And so that's when we have to really spend some time with ourselves. And that's a process to get to know who you are, to get to know who you are. So it's very important that the first thing we need to do is figure out who we are. You know, we have to figure ourselves out. Anybody got any comments right now?
I do. If I can just, I'm sorry, Miss. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I've been talking. Go ahead.
I was just going to respond to something that I don't know, and I can't. This camera keep going off. I can't even remember the exact phrase, but as you were speaking, what came up in my spirit was when I was thinking about when I used to go into the rooms of AA, and when they give you that little chip, and on that chip it has a little saying that says, "To thy own self be true." You know, like we said, we put on all of these facades, all of these masks in order to engage or to feel all right around the different people, to fit in with people, to get along with people. So we put on all these different masks. But once we started peeling off the masks, once we come to that quiet moment with, just like what LaShonda was just saying, we're not settled with, and we're not okay with ourselves. And so what we have to learn, and what we're going through, to our own self, be true. Be true to ourselves.
Good. Doctor?
I was going to say what Entity said was really the core of it is really like an onion. I say this all the time. We're like onions, and we have to peel back the layers to get to the core of who we are. And once we get to the core of who we are, then we see this bloom. We start blooming. And that bloom, most people don't want to see you bloom. So guess what? They're going to be those naysayers. So I think being able to pull back the layers of ourselves and dig deep. For me, I think that came when I had my stroke. I had that moment of clarity where I was in this room by myself, and I realized, like, something's going to have to give. Like,
Yeah.
I can't keep moving like this. This is awkward for me, but I always tell people, even through the stroke, it gave me some clarity that I probably would have not had unless I had the stroke. It allowed me to really sit in some stuff that had been piling up, and I was pushing it down, and to the point where I couldn't push it down anymore. I had to really sit in and understand who I was as an individual. I could not be a good mom. I could not be a good whoever. I couldn't do all that without knowing who I was. So I think being able to pull back the layers of this onion and getting to the core of who we are allows us to really see, as Miss, I can't remember her name,
Curta.
When she said, be true to thyself, really, that is a mouthful, because if we don't know who we are, how can we be anything to anybody else? As Miss Entity said, we have to understand the core of ourselves is what reflects of us when we go out into society, when we speak, when we tell a story to our children. How can we be of anything if we don't know our own selves? So being able to understand ourselves, and again, as Ms. Ortega said, taking off the mask. I have a book called about masks, about we as women, we take on so many responsibilities, so many things on our shoulders, but don't really understand what all that means. But we're trying to do it all because, of course, in society, we are nurturers, and that's what we do. But we have to nurture our spirit and our soul and our whole being from top to bottom before we can even understand what everything else is going to come to us. So that, for me, is just really understanding the layers of that onion and going to the core of it.
So when we talk about, our theme for tonight, and I did mention our theme, now I'm fixing to say it. What tried to pull you off your path, and how did you rise above it? What are you able to identify, even in your walk through life, when you can just look back in the rearview mirror, things that have tried to pull you off of your path? That very thing may be pulling somebody else off their path right now. And you can let them know that's something that's pulling you off your path. Just like, even, and I've never been married before, but I've still seen failed marriages. The struggles I've had through life, I can talk about them, but it's certain things I can't talk about because I've never done it before. But when a group of women come together, there are some things that we share. Somebody else may say something and it may shed some light on my situation. So what can we share tonight that we can say pulled us off our path? And we went over a few things. Curtis said it, people pleasing. want to control everything. What is something specific, that what I described, when I first got out of prison, when you were so vulnerable when you first got out of prison. And a lot of people, they don't even understand that. Go to a reentry home, go to stable housing, go somewhere where you can get stabilized and re-enter back into society. Don't let a relationship, a drug, or anything like that be the first thing you run to. Sometimes we need some time before we even begin to work again, because we're acclimating to a new environment. I can say something to that effect, but there are some things that you ladies can share. What can you describe and say to someone that it took you off of your path, and you can share to tell them that it will take you off your path? And I know some people, they got to learn for themselves and go through it for themselves. But what can you share that that took you off of your path? What can you describe tonight?
I'll start. Listening to you, I went ahead and wrote down some points because I don't want to miss nothing. I know, because for me, I always tell people I try to be for others what I didn't realize I needed in those moments. There's always somebody that can learn something from what you've been through, like you've been saying, Lashonda. And so for me, I say one issue for me was that I was trying to be what I thought I should be instead of what I wanted to be and what I knew I should be. And, I listened to Dr. Miller talk about, being the middle child. And, I never thought about the struggle of that because I was too busy being the oldest, trying to make sure my middle and my little had a perfect example and that they were okay. And pretty much anybody else in my vicinity that was looking at me. And I forgot what it was I wanted to and needed to do for me. I was so busy going, okay, this is what I have to do. This is what I need to be. This is what I need to look like. This is what they need to see. I need to make sure I'm this for them and that for them. And you can be so busy being everything for everyone else that you're no good for yourself. And like you said, who am I? Like, how can I tell you or be an example for you when I don't even know me and dealing with me? And then when you add in all the other distractions, so we can get into my next point of things that were in my way. I had partners at any given point that were not truly for me. And I don't think we realize, we see a person, he or she is beautiful or handsome, and it's like, okay, this sounds good. Then you get a little further, this feels good. And it's just like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I don't think we realize how important it is to have the right person as your partner. And I get it. People grow, people change, and what you started off with might not be what you end up with in the end. But if we pay more attention here, it'll be that much better when we make it here, if possible, or we'll be able to make it there. We have to really look at the totality of that person and what they are bringing to us: mind, body, spirit, just our overall life. It's not just a handsome face and a nice body and a good voice and that good feeling they're giving. He might pay for this and he might take care of that. But how do you really feel?
I like the fine person. No, okay, no, I'm listening.
No,
So
he or
on it
she can
right
be
now.
fine. They can be fine, but it's got to be something else behind that fine. Because I
Yes,
had fine that
absolutely.
was empty. I done had fine that was bad for me. I had fine that
Yes.
had me running into punches. We need more than fine,
Yeah.
and we get caught up on that. Because I trust
Mhm.
me, I did. Fine wasn't never the problem. It was what was behind the fine. That
Yeah.
was the issue. LaShonda,
You
Cause
saying
fine
it,
to
go
have you in
ahead.
the whole
Keep
relationship, and
talking.
you be
Keep
like, well,
talking.
man, I don't even really like you. I
Yeah.
like
Can be
looking at you. I like how you talk to me. I like how that feel, but I don't even like you.
again.
And here I am, but you
Exactly.
fine though. And those things have us so far off track. Or, and then, like I said, when a person isn't truly for you, when you got certain goals and you are a certain type of person and there's certain things you're trying to do, but you got somebody on your left there going, I don't know. I guess. Or instead of, you got to pay attention to how they react when you win just as much as when you lose. You got to pay attention to how they treat you on your best days and your worst. And if you can't show them that duality, then they're not your person. And I think that's something that a lot of us never learn or don't learn until later. And I always tell people, if I can do anything in this life, I want somebody to learn early what I learned late.
Mhm.
I didn't go through the things that I went through in these 41 years of life for no reason. If somebody can learn something from it, then yeah. So ladies out there, y'all listening? that man or woman, that yes, they need to be fine. Yes, you need to enjoy looking at them. That matters. My mama always
You
said,
need
make
to.
sure you like looking at them because you got to look at them. That doesn't go anywhere. That's there forever. But you gotta like what's under that too. You gotta like how
Yeah.
they treat you. You gotta like how they show up for you. You gotta be okay with and nobody is perfect. I'm not saying that you're not gonna have this flawless person, but one of my TTs, man, she rests well, once told me that every man comes with something. It's just you gotta find the one that has what's worth it for you and that what you're willing to deal with. Some women can deal with a gambler, some women can deal with a cheater, some women can deal with an abuser. That's they situation. They okay with that. You have to know, what can I deal with? What am I okay with? And that person has to be worth it overall for you to go through it with them, because so often we mute our issues and we try to be perfect Patty and we try to be everything to these people, and we don't have a person willing to be there for us. We don't have to be flawless. We don't have to be perfect. We are human. And I think Dr. Miller said, behind this title, I'm still a woman. And I think underneath the job, underneath the title, we're mommy, we're doctor this, we got XYZ degrees, we got this position, we're this person in church, we're this spiritual leader, we got these people reaching for us, calling us, wanting this, that, and the third, but you are still a woman.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, when the lights turn off and you are in silence with yourself, you got to be okay with what you hear and hearing and hearing. And shouldn't nobody's voice matter once you get to that raw base point of yourself but yours and God? Or whoever you believe in as your higher power. And in those moments when you can make peace with that, then everything else makes sense. And that gets into my last point of this and the distractions. I had to learn to be okay with being by myself. Because the what I thought I should be, that was a problem. And even when I made sense of that, having the wrong person there that wasn't truly for me wasn't helping that. Because now I'm accomplishing these things. I have clarity, but you're going, I don't know. I mean, that's okay. Well, you did this, well, I'm gonna do that. Like, no, that's not the type of energy you need. But now that I realize that's a problem, until I can have the person that is for me, I need to be okay with being by myself. And even if that person doesn't come, I gotta be okay. Because at the end of the day, it's me. I have to be good with and for me. And I promise you, and I can say this from experience, once you wipe that slate clean and you deal with the raw, nasty, ugly, dirty parts of yourself, and you don't worry about him being fine and what so and so need over here, and you just focus on that, everything else will make so much sense and everything else comes into place. And I really thought once I was okay with being by myself, that's what it's gonna be. But I also tell you, you'll mess around and find a person that's really for you too. Because sometimes you can't pick up nothing else if your hand's already full. You gotta go ahead and let that go. So once you deal with all of that and you're okay with those things, it all comes together.
It all comes together. You said a mouthful. You got
Uh,
Natasha on fire. Natasha, we see you in the
exactly.
chat cutting up, girl. Sit with yourself, by
Look
yourself to
here.
love yourself. Come on,
Yeah.
sister. She is really
Look
giving it up
here.
tonight. All right. All
Yeah.
right. You did say a mouthful, and that's what I'm currently in right now. learning how to love me and learning how to sit with myself by myself. And that brings us to the very end of our discussion on tonight, divine delays. You know, when things aren't happening because you're not ready, because the timing is not right. So when you do learn, look how good God is now. You know, I have to mention him all the time. The way he brought that to a close, the way you mentioned when we get in a place to love ourselves and get to know ourselves, the dirty, the bad, the ugly, because there's some stuff in there. It's some stuff in there. We come to our full selves, and then we're able to know who we are. And then things begin to happen, and then things begin to turn around. So divine delays. I'm still single, and I'm happy about it. Today I am. I wasn't always happy about that. I had that thing going. I had that thing going. But today I'm okay with it. And I don't know how we got on that subject. That's entity's fault.
But it's okay. I would
But
agree. It's okay to be able. I always tell people it's okay to love on yourself and be able to do things for yourself. I don't have a problem with going to the movies by myself, buy myself dinner, being able to pamper me because I deserve that. And sometimes people don't realize how much they deserve those things. And then when you deserve those things, then everything else falls into place.
good. That's
I
good.
mean, as far as I'm concerned, like just because you married don't mean that you still can't do that for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I know me, I know Entity, she is married as well. And like I still have to make that time for myself.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I know we're talking about divine delays, but you ladies have said a lot of great things and I've wrote down little notes and stuff like that. But one thing that's in my opinion really important is to I call it your emotional bank account. Like I have to have those friends around me that remind me that the cup is half full. I'm not like, and I just noticed I identify within myself that I'm always looking at the cup half full and not just the half empty. But again, back to the emotional bank account. I mean, if you constantly letting somebody, cut you down and this and that and the other, I mean, then you go into a negative, which is the depression, which is the going to the this and going to the pills and going to the that. So I think it is very important to have a family, aka she family trifecta, people that you can come in a room and talk to. Okurta, Natasha, Omia, everybody who is a part of this family or a part of your circle. um, but it is really important for your emotional bank account to be at a positive. So when you are around those people who taken away from you, you got to get around somebody who gonna fill you up and make them deposits into you, whether that's church, whether that's being with the family, and that kind of thing. And although I didn't have an opportunity to really share, I do want to just put out, one of the books that I'm writing, from projects to publisher. It's like, you can build your own table. And I talk about in that book how one of my most successful events, my 5-year anniversary, everybody was all excited, cheering, all this and that. But the people who was running around and didn't get the opportunity to experience a lot of the stuff that was there was my family. And so that hurt me, like Entity said, when the lights turned out, it was like I wasn't this happy CEO. I was very hurt. It was a great event. It was a bittersweet situation. And so for me, my when you talk about refocus and reclaiming, it's to write that book, dedication to my family, and let them know how I will not ever do that again, ever. I'm going to make sure it's room for you at this table that I've built, as well as my author family. So, again, just to have those people, because those are going to be the people who fill my emotional bank account. Those are going to be the people who keep me up when somebody is jealous over there or watching you, whatever the case may be, don't want to see you grow, don't want to see you, always want to file a lawsuit or something like that. It's like, I ain't got time for that. Okay. I don't want to keep nobody who don't want to be kept. And I want to build a table of people and surround myself with people who have the same goals, which is to just live life, not just survive, but live this life. Have fun. Look at the glass half full. Life is about delays. Guess what? I bet you those people who were late for work on the Twin Towers was glad they was late for work because guess what? They wasn't in them buildings when
Mm-hmm.
they collided. And and what we do is like if something is late, if something is delayed, if your book didn't get published on time, it's the reason why. If somebody didn't sign with me, it's the reason why they didn't sign with me. It's the reason why that delayed happened. So we have to be okay with them delays, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Just because some negative happened don't mean it's a bad thing. You can't always look at something in a negative situation. Yeah, it may look negative. And I'm so sorry, just one more point. I remember I went out of town with my family, came back. It was a whole pipes had burst at a house that I lived in. I walked in the door, water was coming out. For some reason, there was a peace that came over me. I don't know why. I'm like, I should have been screaming, hollering, all this and that. But it was a peace that came over me. And I'm just like, yeah, this is going to be okay. God got me. And what happened from that was obviously the home insurance took care of everything. It was the whole crib was remodeled and I was able to rent it out and buy a whole nother crib. So it's like you have to sit in what the delay is. You have to sit in what's going on and identify the blessing that could be in that delay. So I'm sorry, y'all. I'm done on my soapbox, y'all, for tonight.
That's good. That was good. That was good. That was
Yeah.
good. Natasha said delayed, not denied.
Come
So I'm
on,
glad you
Natasha.
shared that, Shanita. I am truly glad you shared that and you didn't sit on it, continue to sit on it. And so, do we have any other comments? Um, we did not talk about our books very much tonight. Doctor, do you want to share your latest release?
Sure. I actually just got it in the mail 2 days ago. It's called Unleashing Your Fierce Persona, a guide for women
I
over
can't hear
50.
anybody no more.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh,
I can hear you
Yeah.
now.
you can hear me now?
Okay,
Okay.
there I go.
Oh
Now I
yeah,
can hear you.
I actually just dropped a book and it actually came in the mail on Monday. Today is Tuesday, right? Yesterday. It came in the mail
Yeah.
yesterday. And it's called Unleashing Your Fierce Persona, a guide for women over 50. And so it really talks about us as women really understanding our what we contribute to the world. And so funny, it's this month, right? We're talking about women. And so it really talks about my experience in the work in healthcare and me being of a mature age over 50 and seeing these young women out here who don't want to take this knowledge that we have and we're giving it to them freely and they feel like it's a distraction to them. And so I said one day, I said, I think I'm going to write this in a book. And I did. And so I'm glad that I did because now I'm going to be doing a workshop on these principles and what fierce means and what that looks like for not just women of that are 50 or above, anybody that feels like their calling is not where they should be at and how to navigate that word fierce. So I'll let you see can you guys see that?
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
Oh, look at the
Beautiful.
cover. Yes.
Yes, that's
Beautiful.
real nice.
So, yeah. So if you ladies, I'm doing the workshop in June. So if you, it's going to be virtual too. So if you guys want to join, please do. I'm excited about this one. I'm excited about giving the message and giving hope to women and passing it on to the next generation.
So necessary. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, Entity, you want to tell us a little bit about Here I Am?
So yeah, most recent project is Here I Am, a memoir for motivational purposes. Available through She Publishing LLC over there. Thank you, Shanita. family. So here I am, a memoir for motivational purposes. I spoke about it a bit at the beginning. It's basically the first installment of my story, and it deals with my early years growing up in inner city Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The challenges and decisions I had to make coming from there, and then deciding to go into the military, and then my experience as an extremely young Black woman, dealing with those things. And it being Women's History Month, and I'm talking about what was my war, my conflict that I served in at the time, the Iraq War, OIF-1, and being over there. In the very beginning of it all, even before y'all even knew what was going on, I was already there. So I'll talk a bit about that. And honestly, it's great for women and that experience and in the military and just life and those struggles as a whole. But it's something that everybody can pull from it as well. It's just not, you know, female lessons, or women's lessons. It's people lessons, because I feel like a lot of us go through a lot of things, and like I forgot who said it. It doesn't have to be a direct hit. It can be indirect. If it's something you can pull from that, get it. And that's why I was like, you know what? As sensitive as this may be, I'm gonna tell my story. And I talk about my struggles when I returned, and not being myself, and not knowing how to deal with those traumas, and just the things that I was doing to kind of numb the pain instead of dealing with it. And, you know, getting to the point where I almost lost it all, you know. And not even just when we're saying all, like as in stature in life, but as in my life as a whole. I got to the point where I didn't want to be here anymore. And I had to realize that, you know, I sat with myself, that thing we were talking about before, like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna end this here, or am I gonna keep going? And I knew that was important for people to read and know and see, because it's somebody in that moment that needs to know that is life, is light, is success on the other side of that. And, you know, I go in and tell, you know, a bit more about everything that I am in spite of, and everything that I've accomplished since then. And none of that would have been possible if I stopped right there. And none of that would have been possible if I let what I've been through define me. You know, I always say I didn't make it through war to let myself die here, whether it be physically, emotionally, spiritually, you know. So I wanted to take those things that motivated me, those things that continuously motivate me now, and make sure I made them available to others. And that's what the book is about. Like I said, that's just the first part. There's the second part coming, along with some other projects, but I recommend it for anyone. Yes, it's a lot you can take from it. From, like I said, coming from that type of environment, to surviving what I did in the military, to the the numbing agents, the drugs, the alcohol, the lifestyle choices that were unhealthy, you know, and just overcoming it all is something for everybody there. And if y'all are interested, I hope y'all pick up a copy.
Okay, okay, Shanita, you just mentioned um, what was the name of your book? The one you just released?
Well, actually, it's not even released yet. I
Oh.
have about 3 books coming out, and I think I get this from Dr. C. You know, I've learned through her. You know, when you go through something, you just want to write about it. And you be like, I gotta get this out. You know, so you could be writing multiple books at one time, but one is from projects to publisher is just the second in the series. And then I have another book coming out from 9 to 5, serving by day, but coming by night. And just basically sharing this 9 to 5 and 5 to 9 journey, or as my sisters say, 6 to 11 journey, and how that came about, and how
It's
I
six
took
to
those
12.
skills. 6 to 12, yeah, 6 to 12, and how I, took a lot of the skills from, being 26 years in the federal judiciary and building a professional publishing empire. And then the other book, I don't forgot the name of it, sitting here listening to all you beautiful ladies. But so just another book is a part of that civicpreneurship. Yeah, reading between the lines is what it is. What great leaders see that others miss. So, again, just being able to see things from the balcony, because I'm not like, I'm seeing all the different components of what's happening in the business, in the company, in the where I've worked. But before we move on, I do want to let you guys know that there's some things happening, and the Lit Fest is one of them. We are having a literary festival that is happening in Chicago. It's actually October 3rd. And if you go on Allure, what is it? Allure, what's the
I'm sorry, allurepublishing.net. Under the event tab, you'll be able to see the Lit Fest. It has its own events space and where you can buy the tickets from there.
Yeah. So, if you have a book, you don't necessarily have to be a part of the family. Like, and you don't just have to have a book, it could be a business that you are promoting. But go to that website. We'll make sure to put it in the chat as well. But that is an event that we're having. And then we are also starting www. It is wine and written word Wednesdays, and this is something that we're going to be doing in a couple different states this year. I'm hoping we can do it in Chi-Town, in North Carolina, and in a couple of different states, maybe Houston. LaShonda, she's going to have something, and you are going to meet your author in a theater near you. So I do want to make sure to plug those things. So go to Allure Publishing or go to www.shepublishingllc.com and see the events that we have. Yeah, we're gonna do it in Arizona as well. You know it, Amia. And so just check out what we all have going on. And we all have websites on here, those of us who are authors right now. And Okerta, we gonna get her in the mix with this whole thing too. So all
All
right.
right. All right, ladies. This has been a great night. It has been a very special night. I'm so glad that you all came out to join us tonight. I'm grateful for the ladies that are tuning in. Natasha, we love you. We miss you. Maybe you can come on with us next week. And this has just been a moment in time for all of us, especially for myself. I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be able to be here tonight. Again, I'm the author of Tears of a Lost Soul. I pour my heart out in this book, and God He just picked me up, y'all, and brought me back to life. And in my book, you can see where I failed many times, but I still made it. And so, I lost my children, I lost myself, I lost my soul, I lost it all. I lost it all. So that's what my book is about. And my family, they have small portions in the book where they wrote their testimonials in the beginning of the book. My daughter, my son, and my book is a lot. My book is a movie. But it's my story. It's my story. And it's Tears of a Lost Soul. It's we cry in those moments when we're lost, when we're grieving, when we're going through it. And so here I am today. Here I stand, clothed in my right mind, um, building businesses, helping people, as many people as possible that the Lord send me, and just keep me covered in prayer as well. So I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful. That's all I got. That's all we got. We're out of time. And so, Shanita, would you like to make our announcement for next week? We'll be back here next week. And what will our topic be for next week? Do you have it in front of you?
I definitely don't. Oh, so you just want to put me on the spot, I see tonight.
Yes,
Uh,
yes. I was hoping you could pop it out there. But we will be back tonight. I mean, next week, 7:30 next week, with another interesting topic for our Women's History Month. And we are so grateful that you all are joining us. We want everybody to like, share, subscribe to She Publishing, to our YouTube channel. Please do that for us. And if you want to tell your story, She Publishing, we are a great family. I had no idea that my journey would turn into like a journey, the type of journey that it has turned into when I joined the She family. They have walked with me, answered my calls, answered my texts, my emails. I mean, literally walked me through the process and have supported me through it all. So if you all are interested in publishing your book, please visit the She Publisher website. So that's it for tonight. I want to especially thank my prayer partner for coming on with us tonight. I love you, Okerta. I don't know if she can hear us or not, so I don't think she can. But y'all have a great night. And
Yeah.
thank you all for joining us.
Thank you,
Yep,
everyone.
and I definitely do want to say that there are sister publishing companies as well, you guys. So we got She Publishing, we got Allure Publishing, and we also have Inspired Publishing, and we are the trifecta. So you can come to any one of the families because we are all together and we are sisters. So with that said, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, LaShonda, for having these conversations, because the conversations that we're having this month are curated by LaShonda. So again, with that said, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks,
Y'all have a
guys.
great one.
You
God
too.
bless you, entity. Bye, Dr.
Thanks,
Miller.
y'all. Thank
I
you
love
so
you,
much.
Shanitha. I love you,
Thank you.
Okerta. Bye, y'all. Bye, Natasha.